So, Anthropic just did something that might look small but is actually a pretty big deal. They took their powerful Claude Code AI, which used to live in the command line, and they put it right into your web browser. Now, I know what you're thinking, another AI tool in a sea of AI tools, but this is different. This move signals a really important shift in how software is going to be built, and today we're going to break down exactly what that means for you. Here's the game plan for today. We're going to start with what this new age of AI really looks like. Then, we'll talk about Anthropic's big move to make it accessible to everyone. Next, we'll dive into the super tricky question of productivity. Is this stuff all hype? After that, we'll put Claude head-to-head with its biggest rivals. And finally, we'll wrap up with a practical playbook you can actually use. Let's get into it. All right, first things first, let's talk about the seismic shift that's happening under our feet. For the longest time, the conversation about AI for developers was just about, getting a little suggestion for the next line of code. We are so far beyond that now. We've officially entered the era of agentic AI. And look, that's not just a buzzword. It's a complete game changer. Think about it. We're not talking about a simple assistant anymore. We're talking about a true collaborator, an AI that can understand the context of an entire project, that can plan out complex steps on its own, and that can work with your team like another developer at the table. So yeah, the whole conversation has changed. Here's the bottom line. We are moving from tools that complete lines of code to partners that complete entire projects. And if you're a tech leader, understanding this shift isn't just interesting, it's absolutely essential to stay competitive. So, this brings us to the big news from Anthropic, and it really all comes down to one thing: access. How on earth did one of the most powerful, but let's be honest, kinda niche AI assistants suddenly become available to pretty much anyone? Well, the jump in accessibility here is just massive. I mean, think about the old way. You needed to be comfortable in the command line, messing with Node.js setups, manually configuring API keys. It was powerful, sure, but it was locked behind a high technical wall. The new way? You just log in through your browser. That's it. This isn't just a small update. It's a strategic bombshell. It's about getting this power out of the hands of only senior developers and into the hands of project managers, QAs, designers, the whole team. And don't think for a second this is some kind of watered-down web-lite version. Nope, it's running on Anthropic's absolute best models. It's got that massive context window that lets it understand the whole project, not just a single file. And that understanding lets it perform what they call agentic actions. Things like reading a Jira ticket, writing the code to fix it, and then creating a pull request in Git. All of that wrapped in enterprise-level security. Pretty amazing. Okay, this brings us to the million-dollar question, doesn't it? The one every business leader is asking. What's the real ROI here? Is this all just exciting hype, or does it actually make our teams more productive? Well, when you actually dig into the research, you find this really fascinating puzzle. It turns out the impact of AI isn't some simple straight line. It's way, way more nuanced than that, as this quote really highlights. So first, let's look at the bull case, the good news. A huge study from MIT and Stanford found that developers using AI assistants completed a whopping 26% more tasks per week. And for junior developers, the jump was even bigger. This tells us that for the routine, day-to-day bread and butter coding, the productivity gains are absolutely massive. They're real. But, and this is a really big but, then you have the bear case. A totally separate, super rigorous study found the opposite. For very experienced developers working on really complex, open source projects, using AI tools actually made them 19% slower. Slower! How can that be? So what's going on? Well, the key takeaway is this. You have to match the tool to the task. AI is an incredible force multiplier for all the boilerplate, the repetitive stuff, the well-defined work. But when it comes to really complex architectural thinking or highly creative problem solving, the mental effort of guiding and correcting the AI can actually slow an expert down. So the real strategy isn't just to give everyone AI, it's to teach them when and how to use it effectively. Okay, so now that we know where these tools really shine and where they don't, let's ask the big question. How does Claude Code actually stack up against the other heavyweights in the market? From what we can see, Claude Code is really making three big bets that set it apart. First, it's all about that deep codebase understanding, powered by its enormous context window. Second, it uses that deep knowledge to enable true workflow automation, connecting to tools your team already uses. And finally, it's wrapping the whole thing in a security-first package with options like on-premise deployment that are going to appeal to very regulated industries. Of course, you can't step into this ring without talking about the reigning champion, GitHub Copilot. As a Microsoft product, its superpower is its deep, seamless integration into the developer ecosystem. It just works, right inside VS Code, right inside Azure DevOps. It's the incumbent for a reason. So when you lay all the options out side by side, it becomes really clear. This isn't about finding the one best tool. It's about a strategic choice. What does your team value most? Is it that deep, project-wide context you get with Claude? Or is it the effortless, out-of-the-box integration of Copilot? Maybe you live and breathe AWS, making Amazon Q the obvious pick. Or maybe you need the Fort Knox-level air-gap security that Tabnine offers. The right tool really depends on your priorities. So let's say you've made your choice. You've picked your tool. The hard part's over, right? Not even close, because choosing the AI is only half the battle. The real work, and where you get the real value, is successfully rolling it out across your organization. And this brings us to a classic technology trade-off. It's a story as old as IT. On one side, you have Claude Code, which offers incredible power and flexibility, but it comes with a higher cost to set up and maintain. On the other hand, you have GitHub Copilot, which is just dead simple to get started with because of its native integrations. It's that age-old question, do you want ultimate power or ultimate simplicity? So no matter what you choose, here's a simple 4-step playbook for a successful rollout. First, start with governance. You need clear rules of the road before anyone starts using these tools. Second, run a pilot program. Don't go for a big bang. Start small with a structured test and clear metrics for success. Third, invest in training. This isn't just about using the tool, it's about prompt engineering and critical thinking. And finally, underpinning all of it, security. Always make sure your data and your IP are protected with enterprise-level contracts. And we'll end on this one question, because it really gets to the heart of everything we've talked about. When you think about your AI strategy, are you building it for speed or for complexity? Are you trying to accelerate all the routine tasks, or are you trying to help your senior developers tackle the really deep, thorny architectural problems? The right tool and the right strategy depends entirely on your answer. Thanks for joining me.